Doing welcome to this week's live stream, and we're going to be talking about house prices as we normally do. I haven't got any data to share with you or anything like that. Purely going to be me and you chatting about house prices and why you shouldn't listen to me. So if you're new here, I'm Lee. I've been selling properties for over 20 years. So I like to think I've got a little bit of knowledge on the matter. But if you're new here, please say hello to everyone. We've got a lovely, great community, and we're going to be talking about house prices. And if you're buying a home, your worries, and you can ask me any questions, any advice you want throughout the live stream. We normally go for about an hour, sometimes a bit longer if I start rabbiting on. So let me just get into today's sort of thumbnail about house prices and why you shouldn't listen to me when it comes to house prices and what you should do. In fact, you shouldn't listen to anybody. Okay, that's what I want to get across to a lot of people. There's a lot of people messaging me asking if you should buy a house now. Should I wait? Is this interest rate good? Is that interest rate bad? And if I'm totally honest with you, I can't really help with those sorts of questions. Now, when it comes to mortgage and mortgage rates, if your mortgage broker has found you the best deal or a deal that they think is perfect for you, then at this moment in time, their opinion will be that is the perfect rate for you at this moment. Whether things change in the future, no one knows. But when it comes to house prices, it is all guesswork. There is no set formula. There is no crystal ball that anyone can look into, which is why if you're thinking of buying a property right now, it's got to be right for you and your personal circumstances. No matter what happens with house prices and interest rates, if you need to buy a home and you can find a house that you want, then who is anyone, including me, to tell you not to buy it or to buy it? Okay, there is so much going on in the world right now. Every buying decision is very unique and personal to you. And I think you just need to make the best decision based on your own circumstances. Now, this isn't the normal type of live stream we do in terms of data, but I get so many questions about this. And I just want to come across and just be, you need to do what's right for you and what you think is good for your family and the future. Whether that's staying in rented for the next 5, 10, 15 years and paying rent, or it's going for a mortgage and having a house that you own, you can call your own, providing you can afford it and you're comfortable with the mortgage payments and stuff like that, then that may be the right decision for you to do. And that's just what I wanted to get across in this live stream today is there is so much scaremongering going on, people saying interest rates are 6, 7%. I've heard mortgage brokers saying they're getting mortgage offers and mortgage rates of 2, 3% still. So it isn't all as bad out there. But that being said, it is crazy times we're living in right now, crazy times we're living in. And the decision to buy or not to buy is a hugely and immensely personal decision based on your circumstances and where you see yourself in the years to come. So let me know in the comment section if you are buying now, whether you're thinking of buying, you've put it on hold, what you think is going to happen. I'm keen to hear what you guys think, the guys who are actually buying and selling right now. I mean, I'm an estate agent. I'm selling houses. I'm dealing with buyers and sellers all the time in my part of the area, but this channel goes all over the country. So I'm very keen to hear what other people have to say as well. This is what this live stream is going to be about. It may not get many views on the replay, but for you guys watching now, the 45 that are watching, I want to get your opinions on what you're doing, and we can share that with YouTube if people want to watch it and listen to us. So welcome again, everybody. Let's get some comments up here. Hello, AB. How you doing? Taki, nice to see you again. Abaid, hello. Albie, hello, mate. How you doing? Jane, welcome back. Had a couple of weeks off. I hope you're doing well. You settled in and you had a lovely holiday. I'm really happy that you moved before this started kicking off. So, Taki, who can give me 2 or 3% mortgage? I would love to speak to that broker. I spoke to a mortgage broker last week. They advised that at least deal he can do is 5.29. There was another estate agent on. I follow him on Facebook. He put a Facebook post saying that it's not all doom and gloom out there, guys. And this is when this broker, I don't know this broker, must hold that up straight away, said, I've had 2 clients this week that I've managed to secure deals in the 2 and 3%. So that'll be specific to that individual person. But I just wanted to point out that it is not all plus 6% mortgage rates out there, which the media are pushing out. And I don't have an agenda here. I don't have I mean, you guys, whether you buy or sell, personally won't affect me. Like, you guys aren't looking, I don't think any of you guys are looking in my neck of the woods. So everything is personal. Your mortgage rate you're going to get, the amount you want to pay for a property, and your decision to buy or not is entirely up to you, and no one else can really tell you what to do. But yeah, speak to your broker. If they're not fully independent, Haki, then you may want to go to a fully independent broker. I can put you in touch with one if that's what you would like. AJ, welcome. Hope you're okay. Sparts, London, I'm guessing that is. Hi, everyone. New to the live stream, been watching the playbacks. Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us live. That's, really pleased to have you. If you haven't liked the stream already, please give it a thumbs up. Then that can push YouTube or push it out to more people on YouTube. Mike managed to get 4%. So here we go. This is automatically proof that it is not all 6% out there. Mike, perfect. You know, a perfect example, but it will be dependent on your financial situation on what rate you will get. Okay, so it's the average rate they're saying is above 6%. So that means there are people getting 3% and lower, and there are people that are getting higher as well. So it's the average. There is cheaper rates and there are higher rates depending on the amount of money you're putting down, the lender you go with, and your financial situation. So I just want to get that across. Every decision is personal, okay? And no one can make that decision for you. You're going to have to, unfortunately, take responsibility for your decision to buy or not to buy, and then you're going to reap the benefits or not if you decide to make the wrong choice, which is really harsh. I know, I'm sorry. Respect my game. Hi, Lee. Big thanks for your advice on how to chase up my very, very slow solicitor. Ball seems to be, fantastic. What's your view, by the way, on the doom and gloom? I like Charlie. Okay. I like Charlie. I think how he comes across with a lot of his, and I don't get a chance to watch even half of his content because he spits out a lot. He's always on his phone or sitting at whatever one of his rooms in one of his many houses, and he's giving updates. He has a background in finance. He has worked with estate agents for 20 years, I think he says, and I think he said back in February that he could see a crash happening. And I'm always very wary of people when they say they think a crash is happening, because if you say it enough, eventually it will happen. But he's a little bit more tactful with how he does it. I think he's a great guy. I think there is a risk that you can talk yourself into a downward market before it actually happens. Like, I think he gets way more views than me, like 5,000-6,000 people that watches every one of his live streams. If every one of those starts thinking the house market has crashed, then it will crash. It's as simple as that. People, you can talk yourself into that. Whereas if people make their own decisions based on their own financial situation and what they want to do, what risk they want to take, rather than telling people what's going to happen. But he's very careful what he says. He says there's a crash. He's seen it happen. It's happening right now, but then says something to contradict that. So yeah, it's all a guessing game, but he does say he's not predicting the future, but saying what's happening right now. I think some of his streams have said he's looking at 40% price decreases over the next 5 years, I think he said. So it's a long time. It's a long time to be proven right. There we go. Jane, don't regret the move at all. Just going before the chaos, it seems. Had the electrics redone, so sorry for not being here for. I can let you off for that. You got to get your electric sorted. Steve Merrifer, how you doing? How much would you expect to pay for a broker? Depends on a lot of things, really. Some brokers, if they may charge a arrangement fee, and they will get paid by the lender as well. Some don't charge anything up front. But I think if you get a local independent broker, has their own company, you can see them on social media and doing all those bits and pieces. I think some brokers, if they like you and want to help you, some even waiver or reduce that initial fee because they want to help you and you may be an easy case for them to get a mortgage. But generally, it's nothing up to £500 with what you'd expect to pay for a mortgage broker. But bear in mind, although £500 may seem a lot of money, if they can save you thousands over the course of a mortgage, it is money well spent. If you do want to speak to one, Steve, let me know and I can put you in contact with one. But yeah. Are you looking to buy now then, Steve? Or are you in the process? Have you got a mortgage agreed already? Let me know. I have a 5-year fixed mortgage rate at 1.67%. Do you think it will increase in 5 years? Listen, no one has a crystal ball, unfortunately. I've got a 5-year fixed rate and I'm paying more than that. So bravo you. I'm hoping in 4 years' time, when my fixed rate comes to an end, that the interest rates will be lower. Now, interest rates won't go back to what they were probably last year. So we're not going to have the base rate at 0.1%. We're not going to be seeing many close to 1% mortgages on the market when we do come out of this. It's going to be a different world. A lot of us, including me, when I started buying properties, are used to these historic low interest rates. If you go back before 2008, then you're going to see interest rates were more than what they have been the last 15 years. Okay, I think Martin Lewis done a podcast on this day. Somebody rang up about what should they do with their mortgage. So we are our generation, if you like, of people who haven't bought until very recently, in the last 10, 15 years, or now, are used to these historic low interest rates, when in reality, that isn't the normal. The normal is higher interest rates with a base rate normally 1-2% and mortgages being 3-4%. So what I think may happen eventually, I don't know when, I'm not going to make any predictions, but I think eventually when inflation's under control, banks and the Bank of England will bring back their base rate to between 1 and 2%. I don't know how high it's going to go. There's people saying it could get as high as 6% before this time next year. But again, it's all guesswork. So they could go as low as 1-2%, but mortgage rates are still going to be higher than what they have been the last probably 15 years. You notice that things, whenever prices go up, and if they do come down, generally they don't come down back to where they were. Like energy, for example, we're not going to see our energy prices go down to what they were before last year, because companies get used to us paying a certain amount of money. We get used to paying a certain amount of money, and it becomes the new normal. So unless we get deflation, which is when things become cheaper, where inflation is just how quick prices are going up, you need deflation for prices to come down. And we may not have that. So where are we here? Here we go. I've got a 5-year. Hi, got a 5-year mortgage fixed at 3.45. It's the cheapest house we found that has links to London, big garden, and spacious room. In it for the long run, so we're going through it. Exactly. And this is it. For you personally, you're going to be there for 5 years. 3.45, good rate compared to what some are getting at the moment. And if you're going to be there, it's going to be your home for 5 years. It doesn't matter what happens with house prices between now and before you need to remortgage or sell. Okay, it's all monopoly money. And this is why you shouldn't really listen to anybody about whether you should buy or sell now. It's because house prices are only an issue when you come to sell or remortgage. As long as you're not overpaying for a property, you haven't gone stupidly too high, but hopefully your mortgage lender would send a valuation around and rectify that problem if that's happened in terms of down value into what level it should be. But yeah, I think if you're in it for a long run and you're going to have a home and you can afford the mortgage payments for the next 5 years, then fantastic. I think, that's a good thing for you to do and in your personal situation. House sales already slowing and some estate agents are lowering prices by 5%. What's your expert opinion on how far it can go until March 2023? I've started to see a little bit of a slowdown. My last live stream, I said September was our second best sales month of the year. October started the first week. Obviously, the week was my birthday last Wednesday. That stream. October was first week, banging, absolutely banging. We've had one sale go wrong due to a mortgage being pulled or the offer not being honoured. Had no down valuations yet, and we're talking the last couple of months, which I would have expected more to have happened, to be honest with you, but they haven't come through yet. We have had a few people change their mind in terms of whether they want to buy or sell. Some are choosing that personal choice to maybe wait and see what happens over the next year or so. And some people are just happy where they are, don't want to take on a bigger mortgage. I'm going to stay put. I'm happy where I am. But in terms of agents lowering prices, it's up to the seller, isn't it? Most of the time sellers set the asking price. An agent will give a price and the owner will have their own opinion on that. I sometimes feel that we are invited round as agents to just agree with a potential seller with their price. And I lose out on so many instructions because I'm not argumentative. I just tend to be brutally honest with the price I give, and some listen to me and some don't. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Again, it's value is a very individual thing. What a property is worth to somebody varies from person to person. That's why a house is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. But I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to make predictions as to what I think is going to happen with house prices. I think there will be some more worried sellers out there who may be coming to an end of their own fixed deal, wanting to sell, get off the ladder, or buy something smaller. I think we'll have a lot more people come into the market who need to sell rather than just want to sell. So you have more serious sellers coming onto the market, and they should, if they are sane and reasonable, put their house on the market for the right price. Now, a lot of agents are still valuing like it was last year, going 10, 15,000 or 10, 15% more than what it's probably worth. And we're going to see those asking prices start to come down. Whether that translates into sold prices coming down is another thing. Because if agents are still valuing, putting an extra 10, 15, 20% on what prices were doing last year, then people aren't going to pay that. They may be making those 10, 50% offers off those prices. Buyers thinking, oh, great, I've beaten the crash. I've got 15, 20% off, when really they're paying what it should have been on the market for originally, which is still today's money. So the figures can be sort of looked at differently and interpreted differently. But I don't particularly know how they're going to go. I've had some sellers take a 12% reduction in price this week, and some we've got asking price or above. So it's very difficult to say. And again, just like it is with buyers' circumstances or whether they want to buy a property, a seller's situation also has an impact on how flexible they can or can't be with their asking price and what price they actually want to accept as well. So some need a certain amount to actually make it worth moving. Amar, ignoring the short-term forecast, as I'm pretty certain the property will be worth a lot more in a decade than it is today, will take full responsibility if I'm wrong as any other. This is it. I think this is what I'm trying to push out, is there is so much commentary on the housing market and the economy at the moment. And it does just seem to be a blanket doom and gloom. And I think that may put off some people who would be better buying from actually buying. I mean, these interest rates that are going up will be passed on to tenants. So if you are rented and your fixed term is going to end in the next 6 months, 18 months, you will see an increase most probably in your rent, and you're paying somebody else's interest only mortgage. So you're going to be feeling, or most people are going to be feeling, the effects of higher interest rates, whether it's directly or indirectly, unless you're lucky enough, maybe unlucky enough, to still be living at home or rent free. I have a 5-year. Oh, I've done that one. Abate, house sales already getting slower. Done that one. Sorry, getting confused. Jane, I was told when I bought my first house on my own by a woman who went through last crash, get on the market. A home is a necessity, and there will be ups and downs as long as. Perfect advice. There is ups and downs, but when you're buying a property, I've said this before on a few streams, maybe not recently, buying a house shouldn't be seen as an investment. You have no right in a property making you money unless you bought it for that specific reason. If you buy a home, then that is its main purpose, is having a roof over your head and stability for a number of years, that is your home. You can afford the mortgage payments, and there will be ups and there will be downs. The only time you need to really worry about the downs is when you need to remortgage or sell. So if you know you're going to be in that house for a little while and you can afford the mortgage payments, then if that answers to yes to that, then you're better off buying. You're better off buying if that is right. Great analogy. I like that, Jane. Like that. It's a very wise person you spoke to a few years ago when you bought your first house. Heard back from underwriter, came back asking for the P60 for my partner and one other inquiry. Hopefully no other things needed. As MB says, they normally ask for everything. Like, yeah. Lenders, they're getting a little busy at the moment because a lot of people are probably remortgaging before any more interest rates go up. So they're probably inundated with mortgage applications at the moment. So yeah, wouldn't be surprising if they are a little slow or lose paperwork or forget to request things. So, but yeah, after that valuation stage, and yeah, should be getting your mortgage with any luck. So that'd be good. That'd be good. No better crystal ball, like Lee says, but it's about what's right. Yeah, this is it. This is it. It's just what is personal. And I've said it a few times tonight already. It's got to be the right personal choice for you, and only you can answer that. Okay, you've got to make the best decision based on your finances and your personal situation, and all you can do is guess and predict. And the only person who's in the best position to predict what you need and want or can do is you, not me, not the Daily Mail, not BBC or anyone like that. It is you, because the buck stops at you. You can't come to anybody else saying, "Oh, Lee told me to buy or not to buy." That's your call. That's your call. Sophie, how you doing? I agree with you, Mark. We just had an offer accepted. What hopefully is our forever home. Yes. Congratulations, Sophie. Really pleased you got that offer accepted. Congratulations. And yeah, forever homes. I mean, I bought this, well, we bought this house a few years ago, knowing that this was probably going to be our 15, 20-year house. We can grow into it. We can, yeah, we can extend it if we want to. So we've got no worries in terms of, or issues in terms of selling, unless something drastically goes wrong with both our incomes and we need to sell. But yeah, this is our forever home, which is why we bought, and which is why we remortgaged last year, because we knew we were going to stay here rather than making a quick buck and selling it for a lot more money than what we paid for it. So, but yeah, if you're going to forever homes, loving the sound of that, loving the sound of it. Hi, how you doing? I'm going for a mortgage. The bank has asked to see if deposit is there in my bank. Got that from my home country. Will I ask for the rate when they agree for the mortgage, which was a month ago? I'm going for a mortgage. The bank has asked to see if deposit is there. So if the deposit in your bank, so your solicitor will probably, or your broker will probably want to see proof of where your deposit's coming from. For money laundering checks. So if it's coming from another country, there might be a few hurdles you need to jump through to get that. There may need to be a bit more of a paper trail in terms of where that money's come from. Well, I asked for that. So when you apply for your mortgage, your broker should have given you the mortgage you're applying for with the rates. Usually the lender won't start doing those bits and pieces, to my knowledge, which is limited. I'm not a mortgage broker, until you've actually had a mortgage application put in, and then they'll start asking for that. And at that point, you've had a chat with the mortgage broker. They've told you the pros and cons of this particular mortgage deal, and they would have given you your mortgage rate and your other options. So yeah, it might be worth speaking to your broker, making sure they've given you the right bit of paperwork there, so you can go for it. Z, how you doing? How long does a normal conveyancing and mortgage process take for a first-time buyer / new build? So the new build company, they will want a very quick exchange, sometimes 28 days, sometimes a little longer. In this market, the way conveyances are at the moment, not going to happen. Not going to happen. So, best bet I would say is probably 8 weeks is probably the best case scenario in terms of first time buyer buying a new build with no chain, providing everything goes okay. And if you want a really good conveyancer, if you're a regular stream, you know I've wangled a £250 discount for a company called Juno, which you can only get that discount by coming through me. And they're very quick. Their aim is to speed up the property buying process by 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, using some great technology, some great forward-thinking stuff to try and get house sales through quickly. So best case scenario, 8 weeks, Z. Worst case, I've had some very short chains, as in investor buying an empty property, takes 6 to 7 months. So they can take a bloody long time, a really long time. But you get the right conveyancer who can get things done quickly, then that time can be done, or can be sort of shortened a hell of a lot. Okay, so if you are interested in that, Z, you just need to ping me an email. I'm very unprepared this evening. Let me just pop this in here. Lee, that's... Well, the link, my email address is in the description, actually. So if you do want to speak to that solicitor, that conveyancer, you want that 250 quid off your quote, then yeah, ping me an email, and yeah, we can I can sort that out for her. But there it is, there bigger, Lee at leeeverettproperty.co.uk. Yeah, we can wangle that for you. But yeah, anywhere from 8 months to, I suppose, 6 or 7 months, and anywhere in between. I'd love to buy now, but my current interest rate have slashed my affordability so much I can no longer afford what I need. Happy to buy a fixer upper, but often listed as cash buyers only. Yeah, I'd say that's my advice: is buy the house that you need, that you can see yourself living in for a long time, rather than the house you want. But if they're not about, then you can't really compromise much more unless you change area. Um, yeah, this is that affordability is hitting people. So banks, not only the interest rate going up, are more proportion of your take home wages going on mortgage, but with they're taking into account rising food prices, fuel bills, all those bits and pieces does sort of start chipping away at your affordability, and that can it does take away how much you can afford. Cash buyer ones probably means they're not mortgageable. So there may be some structural issues with it. If it's leasehold, they might have a short lease. So they're generally red flags. If they're saying cash buy is probably not mortgageable, obviously not mortgageable, but for reasons like structural issues or missing paperwork or lease issues. But I really hope you find somewhere, Sparks. Keep keep positive. Keep positive. See, hi, Lee. Just want to say I really enjoyed the live stream the past few weeks. Thanks. No, thank you so much for joining me. It's really nice. Without you guys, this is nothing. I'll just be sitting here talking to myself for hardly much time at all, because I say my piece at the beginning, and then the rest of the stream, a good sort of 45 minutes, is all interacting with you guys. And I really love doing it. And I hope it can continue for a bloody long time. Bloody long time. Jane says, I feel for people, Lee, the doom and gloom headlines when it comes to finances and people's home calls. It does so much stress and anxiety. And whether you're making the right decision, that must be such a stressful and anxious thing. Are you making the right decision for you? If you've got a family as well. And this is why it's a very personal, it's a very you decision. And you can read headlines and that can influence your decision, but make sure you're getting the whole story and that you're thinking, okay, if I buy a house now at the right price, I've got security, providing I don't lose my job for the next 5-10 years. How long you got your fixed mortgage for? You know that you're going to be okay in that house. And that, for me, knowing that, I mean, I don't stress or get too anxious. You can't really, I do get stressed at work, but too anxious anymore. When I was younger, I mean, I'm 36 now. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was a very anxious person. But now, just water off a duck's back. But knowing that I've got this house for the next 4 years, and my payments are staying the same, and I'm not going to have a landlord come to me saying, right, I'm selling, you need to move out, or I'm putting your rent up now every year or every 6 months. That for me is worth everything, absolutely everything. And I hope it is for you guys too, if that's what you choose to do. Done those checks. Fantastic. Good stuff. Good stuff. I just need to get rid of some spam here. Nope, Jane's got into that. Thank you very much, Jane, for getting rid of that. Hasn't caught up on my thing here. Jane says, sorry to hear that. Maybe now isn't the right time, but in the future it could happen, and you never know. It could all work out for the best in the end. I think hindsight's a wonderful word, isn't it? You don't know if something's good or bad until ages down the line. But if you're not able to afford to buy now, it's good, because it means the bank has been responsible and said, look, this is what we can lend you. And if you know you can't afford what you need, then now is not the right time for you to buy, unless you make a huge compromise and buy something you completely is wrong for you, which I would advise not to. But again, the whole point of this is don't listen to me. But that's the bank's telling you that you're not ready to buy the property you need. It's heartbreaking, because a year ago you may have been able to, but for whatever reason, now was the time that you was able to buy, or maybe not able to buy now. And that's horrible, absolutely horrible. Making me feel sad for everyone. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Zara, how are we? I'm in the process of moving into my own home and couldn't be happier. The money headlines are causing anxiety and stress, but I'm so proud of the fact I own a home. You can't. Exactly. That is what I like to hear. Not the first bit about stress and anxiety, but the fact that you're proud. You've eating your fish and chips on the first night inside your new home. That's it. Let me know what you've done. The first night you bought your house. If you're buying a house, what you plan to have? What's your first meal inside your house? If you've bought a house, what is the first meal you had when you moved in? Mine was fish and chips on the floor. Yeah, that's what I done. It was great. It was great. No furniture. Yeah. But you will, once you've got the keys and you're in, and you've got a couple of months in, you can sit down in your nice home and you can just go, we did it. All that months, all those months and months and months of hoping to get here, and you finally do it. It's a great feeling, absolute great feeling. Thanks, E. Jane. I'm going to carry on looking. I'll find a gem eventually. It doesn't help that I'm looking in South East London. I need 3-4 bedrooms. That's need, not want. Yeah, I can always. Yeah, I can relate to. I mean, I see so many houses I would love to buy, but can't. Not all estate agents are rich, by the way. Some of us are quite modest, quite normal people. But yeah, so many houses I'd love to buy on a daily basis. So imagine that thought of seeing a house every day of the week, pretty much, that you can't buy. So I do sort of feel your pain. I do. Where are we? Isn't it always fish and chips for everybody? I mean, I live in a seaside town, so it's got to be fish and chips, isn't it? Although I did have a Chinese tonight. Normally, sometimes if I ever get a takeaway on a Wednesday, it's either Chinese or Indian, as I do like to share with you. But I've run out of beer. I'm on the water today. Not sponsored by Asda Water, by the way. Cork, hi Lee, not sure how the credit unions are in the UK, but to my knowledge, brokers don't apply to them. It's well worth checking out their rates and applying if they're offering. That could be a great thing. I mean, me not being a mortgage broker, I don't know whether brokers go to credit unions. I'm not familiar with that. So if you are speaking to a broker right now, listen to Cork. It might be worth asking if your broker does speak to credit unions and see how they do things at the moment. But yeah, great advice. Great advice. So, all right, so fish and chips every time. Fantastic. I mean, to be honest, it's not that expensive, is it? And you don't need plates, you don't need cutlery. You can get a bottle of fizz or a bottle of wine or something and sit on the floor. Whether you've got furniture or not, you can always eat fish and chips. It's a great dinner, isn't it? It's a great dinner. Azoo74, I'm a cash buyer and don't need to buy at any particular time. Shall I wait till next year? You may have missed the beginning of the stream, my friend. That decision is entirely up to you. If you're a cash buyer, then you are insulated from any negative equity in terms of if you buy now and you need to remortgage when the property is worth less than your mortgage on it, then you're not going to have that problem. And if you're not overpaying for a property and it's going to be your home for a number of years and you can't see yourself moving, then why not if you find the right one? Being a cash buyer, you've got no time constraints in terms of mortgage and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a personal question you're asking, and it's something I can't answer. Will house prices drop? Probably. Will they drop a huge amount? I don't know. Will they continue to go down, or will they go up again? I don't know. But if you see the house that is a perfect home for you, then and you're not overpaying, then go for it. Jane, first night was a Chinese takeaway. So the first thing you unpack is a plate and your knives and forks, all right, Jane? First thing, unless you eat it out of the little tubs and you've got chopsticks or something. If you're more cultured than me, if you use chopsticks. John, how you doing? Haley, wouldn't you say that the wait for the inflation to start coming down as an indication of when to start looking seriously to purchase another property? In the Bank of England base rate is linked to inflation. So if inflation goes up, the bank increase, obviously, the base rate to stop people spending money. So when they start lowering the base rate, they want to encourage people spending money and mortgage rates will become cheaper, which then could mean house prices go up again. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? If inflation starts to come down, the Bank of England will eventually start to bring down the base rate, making mortgages more cheaper, making people who want to buy able to buy again. And then that could then start so the prices are down or demand is down. The want to buy is there, but the availability to buy isn't there. But when the Bank of England start bringing down their base rate, lenders, if they don't do it before this, because lenders may decide to bring interest rates down before the Bank of England start doing it, if the economy allows it. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Charlie from Moving Home with Charlie knows probably a little bit more about that than what I do. But banks theoretically could charge what they want interest rates at any point. So, but if the inflation starts to come down or starts leveling off, and then So I just see my brother's just said my nephew is watching. So lovely. Yeah. So if the base rate starts to come down, mortgage rates will come down. There's maybe more people who are able to buy, which could then lead to those prices going back up. So I don't know if inflation comes down, prices could start to go up again. They may not. It's all guesswork. It's all guesswork. There's my brother investing with Dean. Arthur is watching and says, "Good stream, Uncle Lee." Ah, love you. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Arthur. Need to come and see you again soon. Congratulations to my brother. He had a baby. He had a baby. My little brother having a baby himself. Congratulations. Ashley sent last 3 bank statements to lender for review last week. Now they're asking for them again. Do you think it's because it's a new month? Possibly. They could have lost them, Ashley. May not have been submitted in the right place or stored in the right place. Yeah, it could be. Last week, yeah. I mean, there's only going to be one new bank statement in there, isn't there? Which is the most recent one. So maybe they're just seeing if your your expenditure has changed since you put those in, because I'm sure some people they are very careful with what they spend in the 3 months before they lead up to applying for a mortgage, but maybe not so after. I don't know. I don't know. Here we go, DM with the political stuff. Is nuclear trust dropping stamp duty? Then what's the crack? It's gone, isn't it? Stamp duty for between 125 and 250 has been abolished for home movers. So and well, it didn't apply to first time buyers anyway. And the threshold that first time buyers can claim the stamp duty relief is up to £625,000 now. So that is helping the person buying the average house save £2,500. So yeah, it was 2% between 125 and 250. That 2% threshold is now gone. So the rate which anybody who's just a home mover who doesn't own another property, the rate where stamp duty starts is £250,000 upwards. So yeah, that's all gone. That was effective as of the budget, or the day after, on the Friday, I believe. AJ, my deposit also from my home country. We submitted the bank statement showing the money in the account for the mortgage after we got the mortgage offer. Okay, that probably would have been to your solicitor then. We submitted the proof to my solicitor, like statement transfer of the bank homes. Yeah, so if you've got enough evidence to show where that money's coming from, then no problem. If the solicitor thinks they need a bit more to cover their own backsides because they are checking that the money you are bringing in from another country is clean money and not linked to any illegal activities, I'm not saying that's the case, but they have to do their checks to make sure that that money is not being brought into the property market, into the economy, that isn't legal money. So if you've supplied all the information you need to, you'll have nothing to worry about. Eva Sasha, hope I'm saying it right. Hey, there's a property that's been on the market since June at 140. Is it worth offering my maximum of 125, or is that going to be too cheeky? There's a fine line between cheeky and insulting. The fact that the owner has had it on for 140, and I'm guessing hasn't reduced it for 4 months, would indicate they're maybe not in a particular rush to sell, or they need a certain amount to sell. What I would probably do is call the estate agent, just have a frank conversation to say, look, I've seen this been on the market since June. I can't see that they've reduced it. Is it worth me viewing? I can only afford £125,000. I mean, it's 15 grand. So it's a lot of money, but we're talking hundreds of thousands. Sometimes it's not a lot of money, but it could be a lot of money to that seller if they need to pay off a mortgage or put that equity down on the next house they're going to buy. But have a frank and honest conversation with the estate agent. Is it worth me viewing? I can only afford £125,000, and then let them know what they say. If they think it's worth viewing, if they've got an indication that the owner said, look, I've got it on for 140, but I would take 130, then the estate agent might go, look, they've told us they'll look at an offer. It's probably worth viewing and seeing if we can do a deal. But yeah, maybe have that frank conversation first, Eva, and get some feedback from the agent, and then come back to me and let me know what they say next week, or drop me an email. B, how you doing? Nice to see you again as well. We've got 2 years left on our mortgage at the moment, but the reality is we need more space. With high interest rates, we're not sure what to do. If you need more space, then you could look at your options. Obviously, you've got 2 years left on your mortgage. So you're going to have a redemption figure to pay unless you're able to port that mortgage over. But if you're looking to buy a bigger house, then you may not be able to port that same mortgage over. You may have to redeem that mortgage and take out a new mortgage, unless you go to a cheaper area where you could buy a bigger house for the same money and port that mortgage across. But if you can't port it, you will have a redemption fee to pay, and your mortgage rate will probably be a hell of a lot more now. Sorry, when you buy than what it is right now. So you need to make sure it is affordable for you. But maybe have a chat with a mortgage broker. If you want to speak to one, let me know. Drop me an email. But yeah, I would say have a chat to your mortgage, get your options, see what your affordability is, because it may have changed. If you're running out of space, you may have had a child, another child, working from home. But if you've had children, then that does affect your affordability on how much banks will willing to lend you. So you may not be able to borrow as much as you maybe hope. So speak to a broker first and see what your options are, and then you can make a decision. So see what rates you could get, see what your monthly payments will be, that you're comfortable with those monthly payments, and you can actually afford to buy a house that you're going to need to move into. That'd be my advice. Get those initial facts and figures first, work out what you can afford and how much it's going to cost you, and then see if you can find somewhere for that money. And if so, then if you need to move, and that's your personal choice and decision to do that, then go ahead and do it. But if you can stick it out, stay where you are, maybe extend. I'm not sure if that's possible for you. Go in the loft, make an extension. Yeah, that might be a better way of doing it rather than moving completely. Where are we? I'm still not used to this MacBook. I can't get used to it. Actually, they are also asking for pay slips again with the most recent two, as I get paid weekly. Almost feel like the bank is trying to find a way out. Why would they want to give us 3%? I don't know, actually. I don't know. I know we had a chat, didn't we? Was it a month or 2 months ago? And you was already buying, if I remember rightly. So yeah. Are you dealing with a broker? Maybe worth speaking to them. I know I'm saying that a lot this evening. Speak to a broker, speak to this, speak to that. But in all honesty, they'll be the ones who be able to give you a bit more information on that front, whether they can see that happening more and more often, whether it's just a select few cases. They can speak to the underwriter who's dealing with your case and go, right, what's going on here? You're asking for more and more pay slips. Is there an issue? And then they can have that frank conversation with your broker, and then they can relay that onto you. But it may just be a case that they're so busy right now that they haven't got round to your application. They've looked at it and gone, all right, those pay slips, those bank statements are a little bit old. Let's get some new ones and look at them quicker this time so we can get the mortgage out. But if they wanted to pull it, they would have pulled it by now, Ash, I would have thought. So the fact they haven't shows they still want to honour it. See, Holly, I'm planning to save some money by moving in with my partner's place whilst waiting for my mortgage decision. Do I need to update the bank solicitors on the address I said about? Don't change anything dramatically if you're looking to buy a house. Don't move. Don't apply for any credit. Don't do anything which may hinder your chances. By changing address and changing the electoral roll and your bank address, stuff like that, I think what you're saying is moving with your partners, but have all your posts still going to 123 the street. Yeah, I mean, I can't say on that. I'm not sure how lenders see that, but providing on your credit report and the details you've got, you want to make sure that there's no changes. Read into that as how you wish, but yeah, I personally wouldn't change anything on any bank statements. But yeah, that's up to you. That's up to you, Z. Chris Howe, should be exchanged at the end of this week or early next week. Fantastic. Don't know whether to feel excited about having our first home or feel bad about thinking I'm committing economic suicide for the next 5 years. Right. So I think moving home with Charlie, I managed to catch a little bit of his live stream today. He was saying, don't exchange until the 14th of November. That's my Charlie impression. But I don't think he can give that advice without knowing every one of your situation. And it's a very blanket comment to have. And this is what I like about different opinions. Everyone's got a different opinion, and some people are right, some people are wrong. It's up to you to decide on that front. But I think to say don't exchange contracts until after the OBR comes out and then give it 2 weeks after that to see what the markets refer to. If everything stacks up, I mean, my mortgage runs out in 4 years. So you've got an extra year on me and I'm not worried. All right. You are going to be paying, you put in a deposit down. So provided you put a decent deposit down, say you're putting 10% down, house prices have got to drop more than 10% for you to be in negative equity in 5 years. Okay. Put more of a deposit down. You being in negative equity becomes less and less likely. A possibility, but less and less likely. But what's more important to you, Chris? I don't know where you're living right now, what you're paying right now, but having that certainty that the property you're paying or you're buying right now, provided it's not overpriced, you're not paying too much money for it. And if you've got a mortgage, then the surveyor should have valued it, and they would have given their opinion if it was too much money. But if you're happy with the price you're paying for it, your lender is, you can see yourself there in 5 years, and you're not going to miss any mortgage payments, and hopefully have no change in circumstances. I would have more anxiety about what interest rates are going to do in the coming year as to what the interest rates will be in 5 years' time. For me, yeah, more short term is more worrying than long term. For 4 or 5 years away, a lot can change. I mean, the last 2 years, for example, so much changed in 2 years. This year, with Ukraine and everything like that, and inflation, etc. So you can see how quickly things can turn. But if you're happy with the house you're buying, Chris, you can afford it, and you're going to live there for those 5 years. For me, having that peace of mind would be more than worrying about what interest rates are going to be in 5 years' time. Okay, if that's what you're worried about. If it's about house prices you're worried about, doesn't matter what happens between the day you complete and the day you remortgage. Prices can go down 100% and up 100%. Doesn't matter until you come to remortgage or sell. Excuse me, have a sip of water. Bear with me, guys. If you haven't already, can you please hit that like button for us, guys? That'd be fantastic. Up to 38 likes, 84 people viewing. So if we can get in the 50s, that would be absolutely fantastic if we can do that. That would be great. Also, I've been living in Turkey for a few years, and inflation is at 90%, and interest, bloody hell, that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. How are people surviving there? AJ, my deposit was also from my home country submit. I think I'd done that one, my friend. I think we covered that. There we go. Totally agree with you. Totally agree with what you're saying, Lee. But if you can time your purchase with any available mortgage that you can get that suits you at the time, then you stand a chance of getting a 100%. 100%. It's there may be a sweet spot, but I don't think you'll know that sweet spot until later, and by then you may have missed it. So yeah, looking back, it's easy to say, oh, that was the best time to buy, but it's too late then, isn't it? I think it's a bit of pot luck when people buy, if they get low interest rates, low prices. So yeah, I think there's a lot of fluky people who manage to do that. Claire, hi Claire. See many larger properties coming to market. Do you think these will be the first to take a hit? So percentage wise, obviously the more higher value a property is, if there is a price drop of 5-10%, more money is going to come off of those bigger ones than what there are at the lower end of the market. Obviously 10% on 100,000 is £10,000, 10% on £1 million is £100,000. So the higher houses will see a monetary bigger loss in terms of pounds. But again, it'll be regional. There'll be some areas where high value, larger properties are more popular. And there'll be other areas where the large houses, if there's not the people to be able to buy them, they may have to take a bigger hit. But yeah, there will be some property differences, regional differences, and demand differences from area to area. But generally, I don't know. I mean, people tend to be in bigger houses, tend to be more stable economically, financially. Not always. So they tend not to feel the effects as much as normal people. So they may be able to ride out anything, stay there, draw on savings if they need any help with money, etc. Yeah. So I don't know, honestly. I don't know. You could argue that the lower end might take more of a hit as mortgage availability is down 40% on a couple of weeks ago, that the first time buyer market, which is a huge proportion of the UK property market, if they can't afford houses, the average house of £290,000 and sort of below, then those houses might have to end up taking a bit of a hit to get the whole moving process going for the rest of the chain, going up to the bigger houses. So they may then look to pass that drop onto the one they're buying and so on. So very difficult to say, Claire, very difficult to say. Sorry, they're going to have to say good night to you all. Good night, Jane. Starting early tomorrow on the heated system. Nice to join us. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for moderating. Always much appreciated. Let's give a good evening to Jane. If she hasn't gone already, that was 10 minutes ago. I do rab it on. And we've got the usual spam people coming in, which she's got rid of. Perfect. Thank you, Jane. Is it true that if you make an offer in Scotland, Italy, I believe you have a certain amount of time to you get like an exclusivity period where you have to put down your deposit within a certain amount of time, I believe. But yeah, I'm not sure how it completely works. I know a lot of people wish we had the Scottish system, although I've spoken to a few Scottish people over the years, and they say it's not as good as it's made out to be. Yeah, not as hard, so not as easy as it sounds. John, if house prices come down around about 10%, would you agree that 10% of 150,000 is far less than 10% of 500,000? Monetary wise, yes, but to that individual person, I mean, it's still £15,000, isn't it? It's still a lot of money. Yeah, it's a difficult one to. I keep saying that a lot. Monetary wise, it's less than obviously £150,000. But depending on that person's circumstances, if they're living hand to mouth and blah blah blah, even the person who's only taking a 15 grand drop compared to somebody at £500,000 drop, in proportion to what they're used to and what they're earning, it could still be a big figure to them. So in essence, yes, the higher the price of the property, the more monetary discount there will be. So percentages are good to use across the country, but when you sort of break it down to the higher ends, if a property market decreases 10%, then the higher end will have a bigger monetary drop than the lower end. Once we get the mortgage and the keys, would we need to update the lender if my partner changes job, or is that not needed? I think your mortgage agreement will state that any changes should be made aware of. Whether many people do, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I do think they say please notify us if there's any major changes or your ability to pay your mortgage. Obviously, if your partner does change jobs, there may be a probation period, which obviously she could get told we don't need you anymore at any point in that 3 months, and then you are down an income. So if she's on the current mortgage that you're going for, Abby, which I'm sure she is, then yeah, if that income's been taken into consideration, then legally the agreement you've signed, you should tell them. But speak to your broker; they'll be able to advise you. Bo Yoon, hello, Bo. How are you? I'm worried about negative equity. I doubt the house we are buying can be sold for the same or more in the future. What do I do? Depends when you want to sell, Bo. So how long is your fixed term mortgage that you're going for? So if you can't see yourself moving in that fixed term, then it doesn't matter what happens to house prices until that fixed term runs out or you want to move. Okay. That's first and foremost. They could drop. You could be in negative equity, but it doesn't matter unless you're selling. Like with stocks and shares, you might hold £1,000 worth of Tesla shares. Okay. If that drops by 50% and it's only worth £500, you've only lost money when you decide to take that share out and sell that share. Okay. If you hold on to that and it goes up and then you sell when it's worth more than your £1,000 you paid for it, then you've made money. So it only becomes an issue when you need to remortgage or sell. And if you don't plan on selling anytime soon and your fixed term is long enough, say minimum 5 years, I'm telling people, in my opinion, I wouldn't be too worried. But again, you've got to be comfortable with the price you're paying for the property. If the mortgage company valued it at the price you're paying for it, then they think it's worth it. You obviously think it's worth it or thought it was worth it when you agreed the price. But again, if you want to renegotiate, it's entirely up to you. But just do it correctly. Give me food. Welcome back. We've identified that the extension for the house we're buying doesn't have consent, a requirement stated on the title plan. We want indemnity insurance. Yes. So I could, 100%. You don't want to go around for retrospective consent because you won't be able to get the insurance policy after that, the indemnity policy. But yeah, a seller, if they've failed to do something, should 100% pay the small amount of money in comparison to what it would have been to actually get the consent and do things correctly to cover you on that front. So yeah, don't be scared to insist on that. But if they're not prepared to pay it and you don't want to lose the property, give me food. You then got to ask your question, is this worth losing the property over? Can I buy the same property again for that money or less with the interest rate I've got with my mortgage right now? All things you need to ask. But in general, most sellers are happy to pay for indemnity policy. Not always, because sometimes... Sorry, my throat is very dry. Sometimes the seller's conveyancer will say, no, you don't have to pay that. That's up to them. If they want that, they can do it. But in reality, most solicitors will advise their seller to get it done because they are missing that paperwork. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, John. He's hit the like button and he's subscribed, so he'll be here hopefully next week. Very, very glad. Thank you. Charlie's fantastic, articulate, and knows his he does know his stuff. He does know his stuff, like I say. But Angela, I've seen you pop up in his stream actually. I do think there's a way of sharing information without causing stress and anxiety. And I think he admitted that he has had some people say that some of his live streams and videos have caused some stress and anxiety. I don't think he apologizes for it because I think he's quite, say, articulate in getting his point across, and the way he speaks and presents himself, he's very, people will and do listen to him. But I do think sometimes it can be a little OTT. I know he doesn't care what people think as well. So if he does watch this, I don't know if he does. I doubt it. Yeah, he'd be the first to probably admit he's had people say that, and he even jokes about people in his chat that he's a doom mongerer. But he says he'd rather be a doom mongerer and not have people in negative equity, which is a very, very fair point. A very, very fair point. So, Andrew, you're either here to hear what I have to say or to promote another channel. Spiritual Walker, how you doing? First-time buyers seem to be paying over asking price as they did with ours too. We have heard by a few people that the price we are looking for, 450, people offer below asking price. What's your opinion and percentage? Let me read that again. First-time buyers seem to be paying over asking price as they did with ours. We have heard a few people that the price we are looking for, 450, people offering below asking. Right, okay, yeah, so it just depends. Again, it depends on that seller's circumstance, on how negotiable they can be. Again, have a conversation with the estate agent. Say, look, we like this property, we like the look of it, but it's a little bit out of a price bracket, whether it is or not, up to you whether you say or not. But if you're looking to try and save some money, you can say, look, we've sold our property, first-time buyers, we're good to go. We would like to express an interest in this property, but we've only got, say, £430,000 to spend. Will the owner look at it? Is it worth his viewing? That's probably one of the key conversations you can have with an estate agent. Is it worth me viewing this property if I only have X amount of money to spend? And they'll be able to tell you whether they think their seller will be negotiable or not. They probably won't give you too much more information on that in terms of how much, but if you say, look, this is what I've got to spend, is it worth me viewing? And they say yes, then you can bet your bottom dollar they think their seller will look at that sort of figure, or at least their seller has indicated that they would take an offer, just don't want to advertise it. Hi, Sylvia. How are you? Good evening. You are late today. I'm just about to wrap this up, I think, in the next couple of minutes. So if you haven't liked the stream, please give it a like. We're up to 50 likes now, which is fantastic. 89 people viewing, so over half of you have liked. So thank you so much. And again, if you are thinking of buying right now, take your own advice, okay? Plan for you. Plan for what you think is going to happen to you in the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years, okay? And base your buying or not buying decision purely on what you think is going to happen in your life. Okay, that's the only part of this part of the video I want you to listen to and take my advice on, apart from the questions. But in terms of buying a house right now, do what's best for you. It's as simple as that. No one else can tell you anything else. All right. So take away that segue from this live stream. If you do want a solicitor conveyancer, £250 discount. Drop me an email, lee@leeeverettproperty.co.uk. I'm having some wonderful things being said about them for the people that are using them currently. I use them for my work and now on this as well. So, yeah, and the owner of the company, I have a chat with him every couple of weeks. Great guy. Always asking how he can do better and how he can improve things for me and his clients. So, yeah, really great company. Get in touch. Any questions in between now and next Wednesday, please feel free to drop me an email or pop a comment in the comment section below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And whatever you decide to do, make sure that decision is yours and yours alone. All right. Have a lovely evening. Take care.